Morning, guys. Sorry I've been absent the last week, kind of slacked with the camera. We had the guys come back for the year, started last week, and we had a couple new guys in the shop, so just get everybody settled in again. I really wanted to walk around with a camera. We'll see if I get better at that or not. But quite a bit done this week in the shop. There was no field work. Finally got cold enough again, so we're heading out. We're gonna go see what we can get done on the frost this morning. It's supposed to be cold all day, really cold tonight. We might just shut down because -10 is not fun with drag hose. And see what we can get done. We're hoping to get 3 different jobs sucked down. I don't think we're not going to finish them all, but we need to make some space until the weather cooperates for us. So stay tuned. We're on the road again. We'll be pumping today. It's going to come out of the barn way over there. We're not allowed to cross that field. We have to run the hose up through the ditch. So this is definitely one we always do in daylight. There's a creek there, a little catch basin thing here. We always have somebody driving back and forth on the road just to make sure everything's okay, because we never want any issues. So we'll get to send now. Well, as you can see, a couple hours have passed. Not going so good today so far. Nothing wants to start. But finally out in the field, got the pump trailer in. That was a very slow, painful process. Now we're just getting our red hose laid out. Chris is slowly getting ditch hose laid out. GPS makes everything easier. Mark our A, mark our B. And we know we're perfectly corner to corner. Pulling the hose goes very much smoother. So we've got the hose laid out through the ditch, and now we're just starting the process of filling the line with manure. When it's frozen like this, you need to fill it really slowly, because as the manure comes flying through the hose, it'll actually grab all the slush that was left in the hose and build it up and make a snowball at the end of the hose, and it'll plug it eventually. So you gotta do it really, really slowly, feed it through so it melts that slush as it comes across it. We actually have advantage today because we're going from a pit that's underneath the barn, so the manure's warmer. But it's just a very slow process, but it's a lot faster than plugging a hose with frozen shit. So kind of watch it go along. You really want it to go slow through the couplers, because that's where it will for sure plug. Just let it go and thaw as it works its way through, and eventually you get to the end of the line. It's nothing fun about drag hosing in the cold, but at least we're getting something. And we got the downhill advantage, so it's flowing down into the valley. This would be the worst possible spot for a hole. Then we're using the booster pump for the first time this year, so I can also control it from the broadcaster system. That is the trailers, and then we got the booster pump that I also control, and I can rev it up and down. That's about all I can do with that. There is an auto feature, but I've never been able to make it work, so yeah. I can send manure, stop manure, and rev up both engines in the system. That it's pretty fail-proof for the most part, until trees get in the way and the antennas don't work, but everything is signal. It's not cellular by any means, so. Okay, it's been a process. Slowly, slowly, slowly squishing shit through the line. Manure through the line. I think I've got just enough to get out the end of the line. There we go. See how absolutely frozen, slushy thick that is? That's why we do it. You do not want that going through the boom. And I'm very surprised I made it through all the couplers. But now we're ready to hook up. Cool. And since we pumped sand last, all the seals have frozen sand behind them. So nothing goes together nice. It's a very tedious process doing anything right now. Should have worn my long johns. Oh yeah. Cool. Hooked up. We got poo through the line. As long as there isn't any frozen poo in these, which I think there is a bit. Hopefully we can pump shit. It's coming up the line now. We'll for sure get it out the bottom. There she is. We'll let her flow for a second. Get all that thick, nasty stuff out. And we'll slowly close our center valve. Oh, we got manure at one. Shoot. Didn't get manure out the other. That is unfortunate. That means the splash plate is frozen. Cool. Okay, we got going. There was frozen sand in that hose from the last job. Had to go up to the barn, bunch of hot water, but away we go. Going okay now. Got the pumper trailer running. We're getting 1850, 1900 gallons a minute per flow. Definitely not setting any records, but it's a pretty far pump, and I don't like pushing pressures too much. With the hose is where it is, it's crossing two creeks and along a road ditch. Just keep everything lower, take a little longer, be better in the long run. We're 128 psi off the main hose, so limit is 200, but I've never been able to push it to the limit and not have an issue. So we're just going to cruise along like this. It's not going to take too long. 4,000 gallon to the acre. We're pumping 110,000 an hour, so yeah, 27, 28 acres an hour, 80 acre field. All should be good. We got down into the corner.
Taylor's at 170, yeah, that goes at 176, so I got the pump in the other hole.
Okay, thank you. Little status update on the trailer.
Trying to come out and check the road quick.
Sure. Pulled the hose into the corner, and now I have to reset the hose back to the original corner before I can start doing the other side of this field. So, call it the hairpin hole. Basically go a quarter to half the way past into the non-spread stuff. And we're just dragging a little bit of stock up into this side. I can pull straight to the corner without pulling the hose sideways because it'll roll on itself. And also it'll pull the tractor sideways, and we've pulled tires off the bead doing that, so I always have to stop and back up to give myself slack to turn around because my tractor's not heavy enough to just make a loop. It'll it just gets dragged around and it's no good. So now I've turned around, got a little bit of slack, and now we start heading for the original corner. If I wasn't having so many issues this morning, I would have not covered this spot so it doesn't get double applied, but it is what it is. It took us almost 5 hours to get pumping here this morning, so there's got to be some give and take. But now we just keep on cruising to the corner, keeping an eye on our hose. Starting to pull into the original loop now. I even clean my windows for you.
Everything looks good out here.
This is the most, pretty much the most high-risk time of drag hose of a set. Because you need to get your hose straight again, but you don't want to pull it so far that you pull it apart. So, a little bit of give and take. Because you can definitely pull stuff apart. Now we're back in the corner. Hose is reset. And now I'll be able to go back and forth, moving the hose that way as we work, up into the other corner. Got my tractor dirty. Unbelievable. Talk a little bit about the benefits of drag hose itself. For the most part, it is faster than tanking. On farm, it's definitely faster. Once you can get set up, setting up is easy on farm. And you can pump 150, 170,000 an hour, which is the equivalent of 12, 13 loads with our tanks per hour, and you usually can't average that. Less compaction. We're only driving a 12-ton tractor across the ground instead of a 70-ton manure tank. Pretty even spread, pretty consistent. There is more overlap in spots because of how we have to lay the hose out and move the hose and turn around. But overall, very consistent. There's obviously disadvantages to drag hose as well. Like, given this morning, the tanks would have rolled in. We left the yard at 6:30. Tanks would have rolled in here. 15 minutes, we would have the fill spout set up, and we're going. We're pumping. We're tanking. Tanks probably could have only averaged 6, 7 loads an hour between the two of them to this farm. So that's 70,000, 80,000 gallons per hour. We're now pumping 110, but it took us 5 hours today to get this farm set up because of all the frost issues and just the logistics of getting hoses down the ditch, a hose through the culvert. The culvert's too small for our 8-inch hose, so we had to put a 6-inch hose through there, adapt back down, hook the other caddy back up. It just, you gotta get the booster pump in there. The pumper trailer itself, the one engine didn't start this morning, it was too cold. This hole's freezing on the boom. Granted, I should have just parked that outfit in the heated shop overnight. I didn't think it would get as cold as it actually did. Like normally the ground freezes, but everything else is, it's not a solid mass, it's slushy, but that wind overnight really did something, so. But there's always advantages, disadvantages. Tanks, at the end of the day, way easier, way less cost involved. The hose itself on the drag hose system is very expensive, and it wears out decently fast, especially when you pump sand. You just charge accordingly, I guess. But sand wears out the manure tanks as well, as you've seen a couple videos ago, welding on the inside of one. Nothing lasts forever in sand manure, or manure in general, so take what you get. And if I had to pick between drag hose and tanking, if you ask me the second day of drag hose, I prefer drag hosing. I usually don't sleep much the first night out, or before the first night out of drag hose, just because there's so much to it, and there's always ways to be more efficient, and there's always things that can happen that just take your efficiency and throw it out the window. So it's a pre-planning game for drag hose, more so than most things. Okay, made it to the other corner now. You can see where the next set of thread is. So I'll be able to reach the corner, grab the pump down, turn the pit pal off, switch to booster pump, idle it down. Okay, you can send here, Chris.
Okay.
Only thing I can't do on this system is I can't turn the air compressor on and send a ball or adjust the valves. It's a someday thing. There's definitely systems out there that allow you to do that. But the broadcaster is what we have, and it's been pretty foolproof maintenance wise. And we don't have to spend 30 grand to update the system for the 3 weeks a year in the spring that we use it, because drag hose is only hooked up in the spring for us. It's too much hassle to either dedicate a tractor to it or hook a tractor on and off all the time. And training, we really like it to be me or my brother on the drag hose system, and we're off doing other stuff in the summer. We're running the harvester, packing, combine mailer. Like there's too many things going on for us to be able to do this, where other guys can run the manure tanks easy enough, and just logistically it makes sense to do it that way for us. If we're full-time manure, nothing else, absolutely would drag hose year round. But also another disadvantage to drag hose in the summertime is there's a lot of crops planted. So like example, today we run through one field to get to the road ditch. If that's standing corn, you're not running your hose through there today. You got to go through the ditch the whole way. The risk is just exponential. Drag hosing through the summer, it's not worth it. Tanks stay hooked up. Give her heck with them. Okay, got this farm done. Let's see, we have to do it in 3 different sets. So there's a house and a watershed thing here. So move the ball through. Now we get to move closer to the pit. Everything gets much more efficient now. See why I don't like doing this one in the dark. It's there's a culvert here with a creek down there, and you got to run the hose across, and then we're going to drive back to the farm. I'm really happy this one's done. Always dread this one every year. So we have had issues in the past. You just get one hole, and then your hose is so stretched and long, and there's no slack anywhere because you're trying to make the most of it, that things just becomes very hard to fix an issue. But I'm glad that this is over with. We can set up on farm and get something done now. And time even has it 20 after 2, and we've only pumped 330,000 today, so it is what it is. Chris was able to grab the hose that came across the field, disconnected, and he's got our next thread laid out. So we'll be ready to pump here in a few minutes. And only 1,500 feet from the pump instead of a mile and a half. Got all set up with the home farm here, but it's worked ground and the sun is out pretty good now. That I'm tracking it pretty good, so I think we're gonna call this video the end and pick back up with you tonight when it freezes again. Should be we're almost done the first one. So we got 2 more to go tonight, and tank's got to go for a little bit, so we'll see where we pick up again. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.